Welcome, everybody, to the Rio Rancho Event Center. The push to the playoffs is on, and the Arizona Rattlers are in town. I'm Sebastian Noel alongside Daryl Stoneham, which means a fantastic matchup is on hand between the quarterbacks, Drew Powell and Ramon Atkins. But I want to talk about the history of this matchup. The Gladiators have yet to beat this team. They're looking for their franchise's first victory against Kevin Guy and the Rattlers. As a player, do you start to think about that a little bit?
You do think about it a little bit, but I spoke to receiver Delo Davis earlier this week, and he talked about the advantage of having a team full of veterans that helps them overcome a lot of adversity that they face.
Speaking of veterans, Jimmy Thomas and Roderick Chapman will not be on the field today. One injury, one inactive, but another veteran will join the fray. Dontrell Johnson returns to the field.
The advantage of another veteran presence on the field for the Gladiators. Cornerback Dontrell Johnson makes his return here for the Gladiators, a part of that championship team, and expect him to make an immediate impact for this team here today.
The X factor is the Rattlers lost last week. I can only imagine what the week was like in Phoenix after dropping one to their state rivals, Northern Arizona.
It's a tough one, but like I said, the Gladiators have that adversity to strike back, and I expect them to do that here today.
It'll be the Rattlers and the Gladiators next.
Maria Ramirez.
Hi. Maria Ramirez.
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
We're back inside the Rio Rancho Event Center. Sebastian Noel, Daryl Stoneham is alongside. Welcome to Gladiator football here. Glad to have you tuned in across the state of New Mexico, and of course, our friends watching on YouTube on the IFL channel as well. Daryl, we talked a lot about who was coming back on the field for the Gladiators. On the other side, though, for the Rattlers, they're working a very good receiver, one of the best in the league, and Gerard Harrington back into the fold as he continues to find it. And he's healthy now, obviously, but he's got to find that rhythm and that chemistry. That's a weapon at the end of the season and into the playoffs that they're going to need, and Harrington is a fine wide receiver.
Yeah, he's definitely an outstanding target for quarterback Drew Powell. And it'll be interesting to see their connection here. Coming from a receiver, when you have some time off, it's hard to get right back into the game and pick up that connection and that timing just like that. So I expect them to have a little bit of growing pains, but with outstanding players like Drew Powell and a receiver like Gerard Harrington, I don't expect these guys to take too long to pick it right back up.
It was the defense that really bothered the Gladiators the last time these two teams played. As you remember, Player of the Week that week on that side of the ball, Kyrie Woods has 2 interceptions, but that was against Caleb Holbrook. But with him back there and Dylan Winfrey leading the IFL and with 6 interceptions, this is a defense that really gets after it for Kevin Guy and the Rattlers.
Yeah, this defense is potent, and they're really aggressive. And sometimes that aggression goes against them at times. But I look for Gladiators quarterback Ramon Atkins to have a great game here against the Rattlers. Like you said, the last time these two teams faced off, it was against quarterback Caleb Holbrook. But Ramon has made tremendous strides here through the season for the Gladiators, and I expect him to have a big game here today.
Now, speaking of being aggressive, sometimes it's easy to be over-aggressive against a quarterback like Drew Powell. I talked to Byron Cooper about that, if the strategy changes at all and how they'll be facing Powell. Let's see what Byron Cooper had to say about that. Leading the IFL in sacks, but how does the defensive strategy change for you individually and for the team with a quarterback like Drew Powell that obviously wants to run first?
I mean, we've seen him a number of times. He's obviously had some success against us, but I just think the way we've been playing, it's we've just been vibing, man. Today's just been a great vibe. You can never tell with the IFL what's going to happen in the game, but I just feel like we're just vibing today, like I said. So today should be a great day, man. There's really nothing you can tell. There's no guaranteed outcome, but all we can just do is try to play solid, man. Just respect the team, opposed to just him.
So schematically, nothing changes?
Nothing necessarily changes, no. We try to stay within our scheme. I feel like once we get out, just respect the team, opposed to just him.
So schematically, nothing changes?
Nothing necessarily changes, no. We try to stay within our scheme. I feel like once we get outside of ourselves, that's when we start to lose games. That's when things start to get a little discombobulated. So we're going to just stick to what we know today. We're going to try to run them down. We got some athletes. We do have some players that aren't playing today, so it's going to be a little bit different. But I just think that everybody's going to step up today. The energy's just a little bit there more today.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Gladiators will receive the football first with Ernesto Lacayo getting set to kick off. Both teams suffering losses last week. Gladiators in their usual heartbreaking style right at the end there when Billy Back and his fighters got him. And, of course, Northern Arizona got their state rival. If I would have told you last year, hey, Northern Arizona is going to beat Arizona next year, what would you have said?
I would have never believed it. You got to give credit to Northern Arizona. The strides that they have made all season long, just to come back from a disappointing season last year to have the success that they've had this year.
What a job for Coach Moss and company up there. Without Roderick Chapman active, the deep man's Dello Davis. He catches it in the middle of the end zone. He'll evade 1, 2, 3 tackles after the hurdle. He's across the 10-yard line, and that is where the Gladiators will get started under Ramon Atkins, who's had a fine season at quarterback, taking over for the injured Nate Davis.
And we talked about him taking over for Nate Davis here for the Gladiators, and the tremendous strides he's made game in and game out, and just to see the improvement from Ramon game after game, it just shows the ability to soak all the information in and to apply it there out on the field.
Ramon's a 61% passer now. He's thrown for 39 touchdowns. That leads the league. He's just ahead of Daquan Neal in Tucson, and then Drew Powell is third in the league with 35. So
it definitely helps when you have receivers like Dello Davis, Elmore, and Greg Dent to throw to as well.
Looking towards Dello. It's into the wall. Woods on the coverage. Davis wanted the flag there. Thought that Woods was a little too tight on that coverage. Kyrie Woods, San Diego State University, another fine defensive player. We mentioned, I mean, they're good ones all over the place for the Rattlers defensively.
Yeah, and Kyrie has tremendous size for a DB as well, standing at 6 feet, 195 pounds. But it looks like Dello Davis and Ramon Atkins were just on the wrong page there. It looks like Dello was was looking for more of a deep ball over the shoulder throw, and Ramon threw it sort of like a back shoulder. So just a miscommunication there by Davis and Atkins.
Trayvon Williams, of course, is their fantastic linebacker. So they have a dominant player at each level of the defense, if you will. On second down, there's a flag on the play. It's into the seats, intended for Dello Davis, but it's incomplete. First flag of the game. Check on that.
It looks like they might get Arizona for a false start here, offsides. But that's going to be the challenge here for Ramon this season, this game.
All right, so they're going to pick the flag up. It's third down.
Just going off what I was saying earlier, that's going to be the challenge here for Ramon this game, is keeping his composure when things aren't going well. And he's done well thus far this season, but to start this game off, had a couple incompletion and a miscommunication. So let's see if he can settle down the nerves here and get things going here for the Gladiators.
Davis and Jared Elmore, the receivers in motion. Up the middle and through the hands of Jared Elmore, incomplete. There on the coverage was Dylan Winfrey.
And I believe that might be Elmore's first drop of the season. He's normally sure-handed for the Gladiators. With the nickname like the Mayor, I mean, you're pretty sure-handed here.
So that'll bring up an early fourth down for the Gladiators. Offense is on the field as Ramon Atkins breaks the huddle with offensive coordinator Nate Davis. It was these Rattlers that injured Davis early in the season that sidelined him. All right, big fourth down early in this one for the Gladiators. Some confusion. The play clock's at 15, so no problem there. There's a flag on the play. Lit up from the blind side was Atkins, but I think this is going to be offsides on the Rattlers.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an offsides penalty here on the Raptors. Looks like it was Trayvon Hill got an early jump.
Offsides defense number 67.
Of 67. Yeah, Robert Landers there on a little bit of a false start.
The Ohio State man, Robert Landers.
Yeah, and got a free shot on my quarterback as well. So that's a double negative there.
Of course, Darryl is a Michigan man, so.
And us Michigan Wolverines have bragging rights on those Buckeyes for a full 365 days and counting.
So that'll bring up 4th and 5 now.
See if we can get a big play to get the energy flowing here.
The pass is intended for Davis, and here comes the flag. I think Winfrey may have been holding him on the route, and they might get flagged for that. This should move the sticks. Let's take another look here, DC. What do you see?
Watching here, Dello's running a corner route, trying to set him up inside to cut outside. And Winfrey just got a little handsy there and grabbed him at the top of the route out of his break. That slowed him down and stopped him from being able to get to that ball. So that's a great call by the referees there.
Pass interference on Winfrey. I mean, it didn't look like a lot.
It wasn't much. It was just enough. And a lot of defensive backs are really good at that. It's really subtle, just a tug of the jersey. But his was a little bit over exaggerated there. It was enough for the referees to catch it and throw the flag.
We've seen a lot of that not called in previous weeks. I think that's probably why it just caught me off guard.
Exactly.
Because that definitely hasn't been called in the last few weeks.
It's something that can go unnoticed, but it plays a big role in the receiver trying to catch the ball.
All right, new set of downs now. Gladiators in Rattlers territory. They'll hand off to Devontae Jackson to the left side. He was able to get around Landers for a short gain.
And Devontae had a great game, although in a losing effort against the Frisco Fighters there last week. But Devontae had an outstanding game, catching the pass for a touchdown. Had a great rushing game that game as well. It's been great to see his progression, also being his first year in the IFL and an indoor game coming from the Denver Broncos. But it's been great to see his progression thus far this season.
Yeah, he was the last man cut, or you recall, in camp the last year he was with the Broncos. A lot of blogs and stuff thought he was going to make the team. And when Lindsey got hurt there, I think a bit of a surprise when Jackson got cut. But he was definitely the last man cut. A lot of people up in Denver thought he would be wearing Broncos uniform that year.
Definitely was a surprise. He had an outstanding preseason bout that season as well. Had 100-yard rushing against the Falcons, I believe. So it was a bit of a surprise, but we're glad to have him here for the Gladiators.
Ball's at the 16-yard line. Second down here. Elmore and Dent will be in motion. There's a flag on the play. It's to the end zone. It's through the hands of Greg Dent.
Looks like we might get another illegal defense.
It's 2 flags, actually, as the officials discuss what could have happened there.
And that may be one thing the Gladiators picked up on film study.
The linebacker is not stationary at the time of the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. We think they're down.
That was one thing the Gladiators, I know, focused on this week in practice, and that's the hard count. We talked about the Rattlers defense being aggressive,
right,
sometimes overly aggressive, and it's starting to show here in the early stages of this game. You give them a hard count, and you can get a false start on these guys.
Elmore, Davis in motion to Atkins left here. Ramon going to keep it himself. Plenty of room. Touchdown. Yes, he reaches in for the score. It's a touchdown for Ramon Atkins.
That's an outstanding job by Ramon of using his big frame. The big guy out there, 6'4", 225 pounds. Watch it here. And we talked about Devontae Jackson as well with a great block. And Ramon, again, using that great size to plow into the end zone for the early score for the Gladiators.
That is the 13th rushing touchdown of the year for the New Mexico Highlands man, Ramon Atkins. Here comes the big fella, Kevin Gosling, on to add the extra point. That was a long opening drive for the Gladiators, and it ends just the way a Duke City fan would want it to, with a touchdown for Ramon Atkins. Gosling adds the extra point, and it's 7-0 Duke City. Coach Guy is going to challenge that. He is going to claim that there was an illegal offensive formation. So now, can you challenge that once the kick has already been attempted?
I'm not. Even though I'm not sure why you would want to challenge an extra point, but you know.
Or is he challenging the extra point?
Let's see if we can get an explanation here from the referees.
I think that's perfectly legal, isn't it? Are you sure?
So what you're going to see at home is what the officials will be looking at here. So are they challenging the touchdown or the extra point here? I think it's the extra point.
Yeah, and they're challenging the formation. They're saying it's an illegal formation on this extra point. And the referees are here talking it over, but I'm still scratching my head at why you would want to check. Because even if you win this challenge, it's just a re-kick and you lost a challenge.
Right. So that's an interesting decision from Coach Guy.
Because you got to know, the Gladiators have been in close games all season long, so you're going to need one of those challenges.
This is a curious challenge from Kevin Guy, and you can tell the replay. They're just looking at a frozen shot because they just want to look at the formation, so that they don't really need to run a live play here.
Okay, you got, what do you have to have? 4 down linemen?
Yeah, they're saying you have to have 4 down linemen down on the field.
Yeah.
It looks like the Gladiators have that.
It looks legal to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't see any illegal formation, but let's get the ruling from the officials here in a bit.
Yeah, I think Coach Guy's going to lose this one.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with you there, Sebastian.
That is a curious early challenge for Kevin Guy and his staff over there. We were eavesdropping a little bit, and it does look like the Gladiators will win, or excuse me, the Rattlers will lose this challenge. So the extra point is good, and it is 7-0 as we take one more look at it. We'll be back to the Rio Rancho Event Center, 7-0 Duke City.
When they approached us to do this in the first place, we couldn't wait to get involved.
Come in here, and it feels like a football game should be here. It's a big event for us. In our opinion, this is going to be an outstanding spot to bring it to, and once you get a taste of it, I'm guessing you're going to want to come back.
It's 7-0 Duke City. This will be Arizona's first offensive possession as that one is picked off the ground by Houston, and he's lit up.
That's a great tackle by Darius Thomas, DB for the Gladiators. And that's been an Achilles heel for the Gladiators all season long, is the opening kickoff, or their kickoff.
Remember last week for Arizona, Harrington took the kickoff 50 yards for their first score.
Exactly.
Drew Powell will go to work now for the Rattlers. He's a 65% passer. He's thrown for 35 touchdowns. He's rushed for 15. And again, a very curious challenge. The live chat is on fire right now.
I can imagine.
Talking about that challenge.
And, yeah, I mean, it costs you a challenge and a timeout, which to come back and bite you towards the end of the game.
Well, Coach Guy's won a few games now, hasn't he? So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Drew Powell in the carry. It's a short game. There's a flag on the play. And we talked about it earlier, and I talked with Byron Cooper. You guys had a chance to see that as we take a look at this replay. But you have to be very disciplined against Powell, not to over-pursue. How do you make him a passer?
Powell is so dangerous because he's a dual-threat quarterback.
But let's be honest, one of those threats is a lot bigger than the other.
Exactly.
So how do you make him a passer? That's the strategy, right? You got to try to make him beat you with his arm.
And a little bit of it is what you just saw. You got to blitz him and put a little bit of a pressure on him. But the thing is, and which this makes Powell so dangerous back there, when you get back there and we get home on the blitz, you have to finish. You have to finish the play and you have to make the tackle. And you saw it right there just then. Powell does a great job of using his agility and his size to break those arm tackles and just barely make the linebackers miss. And then after that, he's off to the races for big gains. But when the Gladiators blitz, it's important that not only you get home, but you got to get them on the ground.
They called an illegal blitz on Jason Serta. Powell looking to run. Cooper chased him down from behind. And he nailed him. Wow, what pursuit by Cooper. I hope we can get another look at that.
Outstanding.
It looked like Powell had a step here, and then Cooper put it into another gear and drives him into the turf. Look at this.
And this is the piggyback off the Gladiators' last home game against the Pirates. A lot of game tackles. The defense rallying to the ball. You see here Byron Cooper, one of the leaders here for this Gladiators defensive line. But you got to rally to the ball, and it's going to take more than one guy to bring down Drew Powell. And you saw that there the previous play.
He's second in the league in forced fumbles, and he leads the league in sacks. Powell back to pass. Clean pocket. Open man is Miles, and Jamal makes the catch. He's finally brought down across the 10-yard line. Wide open receiver Miles with his first catch.
And Powell had a ton of time back there to sit and make himself extremely comfortable in the pocket to have time to deliver that ball to his open target. Jamal Miles there for the first down.
Miles is an Arizona State man. He played in Canada as well for Edmonton.
If you make Powell throw the ball on the run, he's not as accurate as he is when he just has all day sitting in the pocket. You got to keep pressure on him.
To Little, no, it's lit up in the backfield by Jason Serta.
Wow, and
No chance for Tobias Little.
Serta's been all over the field thus far here this game. He's been on all 3 tackles to start this game off. And you can tell Serta is pumped up and doesn't want to go 0-4 against the Rattlers this season.
Looking for their first franchise win against Kevin Guy and his Rattlers, as Kevin is talking with Drew Powell as we speak.
And this Gladiator team is on the cusp. They've been close all season long, losing by 1 point here and there against the Rattlers and other teams. But Dello Davis and other veterans on his team feel like this is the time where this team makes the turn for the season.
Powell has some room, going to keep it, lots of room, and he is upended as he heads to the goal line as Dexter Reese, the former Rattler, went down low to drive Powell into the barrier.
Wow.
Take us through the replay.
And somebody with his size shouldn't be this agile. Look at the height there on that jump. That's just an outstanding athletic play by Drew Powell. And that's a great way by not taking a big hit there.
He almost completely hurdled Dexter Reese.
That's an outstanding athletic play. And it's a great job of protecting yourself as well, because Reese was coming in for a big hit.
Goal to go here for Powell and company. Drew will keep. There's a flag on the play. Serta got home on it. Ball's loose. The whistle hasn't blown. Again gets into the backfield. There was a flag on the play, and then it did look like Powell coughed it up right before he got in.
Exactly. It's a lot going on this play. Let's start with the flag and see what the flag is. But I don't know. Did it look like that ball came out there, or was he across the goal line before?
It looked pretty close. The officials are talking it over now.
But again, it's great to see linebacker Jason Serta here on a mission for the Gladiators this game. Again, coming off that injury last season and making an impact here for the Gladiators this season.
All right, we don't have the ref Mike this week, but we'll go down for the announcement in just a moment as Lacayo is starting to get warm on the sideline. He wants to talk to Coach Kevin Guy here.
Yeah, we're all curious to see what
a lot happened on that play. All right, so the runner was rolled down before the ball came out, short of the goal line. There was an illegal defense penalty, which the Rattlers have declined, so they'll take the play, which spots the ball just inside the 1. All right, we got that all straightened out. So this has to be Powell running it, you would think, right?
You can bet on it. I mean, like I said, a guy with his size, it's almost automatic that he's going to carry the ball here on the goal line this close to the end zone.
15 rushing touchdowns. He'll hand it off. Around the edge, Haley goes in untouched. He went around the edge and he beat Charles Reed, who got to the backfield. Reed was upset with himself, knowing that he could have made the tackle, and he could not. And it's a touchdown.
Yeah, Braxton Haley able to get just past Eric Reed to scamper down the sideline for the touchdown. But I know Eric Reed's kicking himself there. That's the play that he knows he can make. Just barely missed it, and Haley did a great job of turning the corner in for the touchdown for the Rattlers.
Here comes Lacayo. High snap, and it's blocked. It's a live ball, still loose, and a great job on the block. Was that Dontrell Johnson?
That is Dontrell Johnson, number 17, veteran number 17, Dontrell Johnson, a part of the Gladiators championship team in 19, making his veteran presence known here early in the game with an early PAT block.
Let's take one more look at it. Here's Lacayo that started with a really high snap. That threw off the timing, and welcome back Dontrell as he blocks the extra point. It's a 7-6 Gladiator lead.
Maria Ramirez.
Hi. Maria Ramirez. Mom! Maria!
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
We're back here at the Rio Rancho Event Center. Sebastian Noel, Daryl Stoneham alongside. 7-6 as Kevin Guy and Coach Jernigan are over there talking with the officials. They're not happy about something, obviously, but what else is new, right?
Yeah, I believe they might still be chirping about the illegal formation there on the. He wants an explanation of why his challenge and timeout was lost there. But again, why would you even throw that challenge on that extra point? Let's say you win it and they just kick it again, and you know it's.
This definitely has to be special teams related because Coach Jernigan's out there, right?
Exactly.
So there's something either on their kick or on the previous where they challenged, and Coach Jernigan not very happy at all.
Nonetheless, great job by Dontrell Johnson of knifing in the backfield and blocking that extra point.
The high snap is what really changed the timing of that play. Coach Guy is still red hot over there.
If you've watched the Gladiators all season long, you know that that 1 point might make a huge difference
Seems to
in this
make
ball
the
game.
difference a lot.
Dontrell pointing over to the broadcast.
It's getting a little long now, this conversation. I mean, at some point, the referee has to say, okay, let's play,
Exactly.
right? Or you're going to just let Kevin just talk all night? That's the question.
You can't drag it out here.
All right, now we're ready. Lacayo ready. It's good to see the guns out for Ernesto, right? Look, I mean, what other kicker has the guns out like that, right?
That's
No
pretty
sleeves.
good.
Gotta love it.
Let's see if he can get down and make a tackle as well.
Oh, he looks like he can make a tackle. Dello Davis is going to make this return out of the middle of the end zone. Davis looking for some room. There's a flag on the play. Dello still dancing. It's finally brought into the wall to 10, and we'll have to check the laundry.
That's usually in the block in the back or hold in type of range.
Another, of course, returning member from the championship team, Cedric Johnson, out there playing special teams.
And Cedric is a big red zone target for the Gladiators as well, adding tremendous size to
They
it.
haven't really weaved him back into the passing
Yeah.
game yet, but I would imagine as we go along that'll happen.
Yeah, Cedric's working his way back into football form, into football shape, and he's come along very well for the Gladiators in practice. I expect him to have an impact some kind of way in his game here today.
All right, there's a block in the back. Yeah, Cedric getting back into it. We mentioned Harrington played last week. I don't think he made the trip this week. So, you know, a lot of teams have that situation. You got to get guys ready for the playoffs, get them back in rhythm. So this will back the Gladiators up inside the 5-yard line. 3:33 to go in the first. Pressure coming, and it's incomplete because he had to get rid of it to Elmore. But you definitely saw up the middle, it was Trayvon Williams coming, and Atkins had to get rid of it.
Looks like the fans wanted a pass interference there. A little early contact on Jared Elmore, but
And they did get it. There was a flag. I didn't even see when that flag came in. They'll get illegal contact on Kyrie Woods.
yeah, I heard the groans from the fans, but we just missed the flag there. But enough contact to warrant the flag.
It's going to be a long day if you're a DB if that's being called today. I'll tell you that. But
You know,
luckily,
I'm a
my
receiver.
broadcast partner's a receiver.
I'm a receiver. I love to see this.
Jackson, no, that's going nowhere fast. Lit up in the backfield by Robert Landers. Landers was first to get there. Finishing up was Williams.
And that was a great job by Landers of staying home and not falling for the fake to be able to make the tackle there on Ramon Atkins. For a short gain, looks like a gain of about 2 yards.
It's been a low-scoring affair. Limited possessions as we're already at the under 2.5 minute mark here.
And it's been great to see the Gladiators control the clock towards the end of the season here, these last couple of games.
This time better protection towards Greg Dent, and he makes the catch right over Dylan Winfrey.
That's just outstanding. Florida State Seminole Greg Dent leaping up, making an outstanding catch here. Let's see if we can catch the replay.
Winfrey never got whiff of the football there, didn't get a hand up, and a great toss from Ramon Atkins to Greg Dent Jr.
And the corner routes seem to be the Gladiators' go-to route. They must have seen some type of hole and some type of opening in the corner routes, but a great job by Greg Dent of breaking off on that corner and going up, high pointing that ball and coming down with it.
Atkins going to keep this one himself. He crashes back up the middle for a few yards. It's brought down from behind by Williams.
I tell you, Devontae Jackson, to be 5'7" and 170 pounds, every time, if you watch it on Ramon on these quarterback keepers, he has an extra 3-4 yards because of Devontae Jackson and him sticking his head in there and taking the linebacker head on full speed. That's a lot to ask for a running back, and Devontae answers the call every single down.
Well, you look at his legs, huge. You were talking about his leg days last week, right? Or the last time we were together.
I'm more of a Pilates leg day type of
Yeah, I can see that. They'll give it to Devontae, looking for some room. He's found it, and he's going to go in untouched for the touchdown.
And we talked about the size of Devontae Jackson standing at 5'7". He did a great job of hiding behind his tall offensive line, stutter stepping, finding a hole, and turning on the Jets for the touchdown. Watch it here. Watch him disappear behind those guys, and then bam, reappears and hits the hole for the touchdown. Great vision and patience by Devontae Jackson to get the Gladiators a touchdown here.
That's his 8th rushing touchdown of the season. Second on the team to Ramon Atkins. Gosling on to at the extra point, former Fresno State man as well as an Oakland Raider.
Let's see if Kevin Guy will throw his challenge flag on this one.
Not this time. The kick is up, and it is through. The touchdown for Devontae Jackson makes it 14-6 in favor of Duke City.
Dave & Buster's is the home of all Duke City Gladiator watch parties and their proud partners.
Welcome back to the Rio Rancho Event Center. Sebastian Noel and Daryl Stoneham. Now, are they going to kick this again here? What? They didn't make the announcement.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm confused on this one. Are we re-kicking? Let's see if we can get an explanation on why the Gladiators are attempting another extra point.
So, yeah, this time it was. There was too many men on the line, which is kind of what Coach Guy was challenging the first time. This time there were too many. So they'll re-kick here is the explanation that I was just given.
Huh?
So Gosling on again. Kick is no good. It's no good. Wide left. There was a flag on the play.
We have another flag on the play. Looks like this one might go against the Rattlers.
Wouldn't that be ironic? But you can tell the Gladiators definitely trying to max up that protection. It is illegal defense. So Kevin Gosling will have a third try here. This is all at the end of the quarter here. This will end the quarter.
All for 1 point. But kudos to the officials for getting it right.
Yeah, they got it right.
And getting everything under control, getting this ball game under control. But I don't expect Gosling to miss 2 in a row.
They got 5 in the line, which is allowed. Good snap, good hold. Kick is up and through. Right off the lawyer's forehead. Extra point's good. 14-6 Gladiators. End of the first.
You Mexicans need an attorney general they can trust. I'm Attorney General Hector Balderas, and I trust Brian Colon. As our next attorney general, Brian will fight for our most vulnerable. Protect working families, women's reproductive rights, consumers, and our democracy, all while cracking down on crime to keep us safe. Planned Parenthood, classroom educators, working families, and Democrats like me agree. Brian Colon for Attorney General, paid for by Protecting NM Families.
Maria Ramirez?
Hi. Maria Ramirez.
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
That ball and taking the contact from the wall.
See earlier Atkins, that was his 13th rushing touchdown of the season.
And Devontae does a great job of showing that patience and burst to get into the end zone.
Now,
For
if you hold it right there, freeze that, guys. What's more impressive, Devontae's legs or Ernesto Lacayo's arm?
Yeah.
Now, Ernesto's a kicker, so remember that. I think that's got to be pretty close, right?
I got to give it to Ernesto just because of the fact, he's a kicker.
Right? So if we were having a contest right now.
I've seen how kickers practice.
Right. But those legs or the kicker's guns, I think that's pretty close to 50-50.
It's pretty close. That's pretty close.
The deep man back for the Rattlers is Isaiah Houston. But this will bounce into the hands of Jamal Miles instead. Miles has a lot of room. This is trouble. Miles is going to go in untouched.
And we talked about this a little bit earlier in this game, the Gladiators' troubles on these kickoffs. And it all starts with the kick. And these guys, Gosling does a great job on his kickoffs. That time the ball just didn't bounce the Gladiators' way. Rattlers got a great bounce and were able to pick it up and use that momentum. He picked it up at about the 15-yard line and was able to sprint the rest of the way for the touchdown. But
he didn't.
Me and you both have been
close. Wasn't even close to getting touched.
Me and you both have been a fan of the high kickoffs to give your team a chance to get down there and just cover the kick.
Lacayo's on for the extra point, and it is good. And the Rattlers strike quickly on the kickoff return touchdown for Jamal Miles. It's 14-13 as we take one more look here. There was never a doubt here.
You see he got that favorable bounce, and whenever you got to rely on your kicker to make the tackle, that's not good.
1 point lead.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Ernesto Lacayo's ready here. The deep man is Greg Dent. Dello Davis is the up man. It's Dent that's taking it out here at about the goal line, and he gets across the 15, a decent return. Azell was in on the tackle there, as well as, of course, Devontae Merriweather, who seems to have his nose in every play. Devontae's another good one. All right, we got ourselves a 1-point game here, Daryl, as we start the second quarter.
And the thing I've been impressed with the Gladiators thus far in the game is their time of possession. We all know the explosiveness of this offense and their quick strike ability, but to be able to control the clock and mix in a mixture of pass and run and have success in both is something we haven't seen from the Gladiators, and it's nice to see it here early in this game.
Hand off to Devontae Jackson. Chandler with a nice block. Devontae trying to make something positive out of this. He's finally dragged down by Woods.
That's a great job by the Rattlers, and Woods rallying to the ball and gang tackling Devontae Jackson there. Great team defense. That was this Rattlers defense has outstanding speed, defensive team speed. The way these guys rally to the ball, run and pass, and even to the quarterback and finish at the point of contact is the reason why they're one of the top teams in this league.
Second and long now. There was a loss on the play there. Pressure coming. He's got to get rid of it quickly. It is caught by Jared Elmore.
And another acrobatic play. And we talked about that here for Ramon, the advantage of having such explosive veteran receivers here. Watch it here. Ramon is just able to make the right read and put the ball up for these guys. Greg Dent, Jared Elmore, even Dello Davis have outstanding leaping abilities to go up and high point these balls. Watch it here. High point it and take and absorb the contact from the wall. Great job by Jared Elmore.
Enough for a Gladiator first down. It's the first catch of the night for the mayor, Jared Elmore. Devontae Jackson on the carry, finds some room. You saw again there, he's trying to hide behind the big trees, right? He does that well.
Yeah, taking that Le'Veon Bell approach. He does that hesitation move and shows great patience, hide behind those offensive linemen. And once Devontae finds the hole, he used that explosiveness to hit it and pick up positive yards. But again, the Rattlers doing a great job of rallying to the ball to limit that game. Or actually, Devontae losing 3 yards down the play.
Loss on that play. We got plenty of time here because the play clock was never started. And Ramon will take the play into the huddle here. Offensive coordinator Nate Davis right in front of us. Devontae Jackson, Jared Elmore to the right side of the formation. On the left side, moving on the play will be Greg Dent and Dello Davis. Up the middle of the field, a lot of contact there, and Greg Dent was the intended receiver, but Woods did a nice job there.
Yeah, it looks like Dent wanted a pass interference there, but Woods did a great job of positioning himself in front of the receiver because he's entitled to the spot of the field as well.
Right, and he kept the hands off, right? Great job by Woods.
He did a great job of positioning himself right in front to prevent Greg from getting to that ball.
Bring up a Gladiator third down here. Elmore and Dello in motion. They had to get rid of it quickly. Caught by Dent up the middle. There's laundry everywhere as that one's caught at the 12. He was tackled there by Devin Cockrell. Ramon had to get rid of it so quickly. There was pressure coming. There's 2 flags on the play.
And again, it looks like Ramon got the Rattlers on the hard count, using that aggressive Rattler defense against them.
It's against the Rattlers. Linebacker was again moving at the time of the snap.
That hard count is effective. Ramon does. I've heard him do it in practice. He does a great job with the long hard count first and a quick snap after. And it got the Rattlers to jump off sides there.
It was not enough for a first down, but it is now 3rd and short. Looks like 3rd and 3. Elmore, Dello Davis in motion, high snap. Here comes pressure. Ramon steps through and away from it. Not going to get away from this one. He coughs up the football. Landers can't pick it up. Now Landers will finally fall on it. And now there's a scrum for it.
Looks like that might be Rattler football.
It looks like Rattler football as Robert Landers was finally able to fall on it. And it is Arizona football on the fumble.
And that's just one of the young mental mistakes by Ramon Atkins. He's trying so hard to make a play. Watch it here.
At this point, you got to try to throw this away, don't you?
He's trying to just make a play, but you got to understand, just throw the ball away to live to fight another down. But you got to give him credit for trying to make a play, but you got to know when to try to make a play and when to just get rid of the ball to fight another down.
Cannot give the Rattlers extra possessions with turnovers. And that's exactly what has happened now. 9:30 and counting here in the first half. Landers on the fumble recovery. Let's see if Powell can make him pay. Hit Little on the ground. He's brought down by Jason Serta. The gain of a half yard on the play will bring up 2nd and 9.
And Serta's having an outstanding game to start this game off. He's been on just about every tackle this game thus far. Just flying all over the field.
Remember, the Gladiators got the football first, so it'll be Rattlers' ball in the second half to start things. So that always comes into play in the second quarter.
Exactly.
You cannot allow the 2-for-1 if you're Duke City. Powell looking to throw. He does, up the middle. Wide open, Braxton Haley. There wasn't a Gladiator within sight of Haley as he's brought down at the 5-yard line.
And again, Powell caught the Gladiators in a cover 2 zone there. And if you know football, you know in cover 2, the holes in that zone are in the middle of the field. And Drew Powell is exposing that here against the Gladiators.
We thought with Chapman not out there and Dontrell active this week, they'd be playing more of that cover 2, and they have. And the Rattlers have been ready for it. Haley and Miles in motion. Powell will cut back up the middle, and he is up and in. What a run for Drew Powell.
Just the athleticism of this guy. It's just unbelievable. And he does the Superman similar to Cam Newton. And I wonder if he models his game after Cam Newton, especially with the number, because they play so much alike. He uses that big frame and speed to his advantage at the quarterback position.
And he's not afraid to throw that body around at all. Watch this at the end of the play. Like, I mean, he doesn't care if he's going to get hit. He knows that, hey, once I go airborne, no one's going to helicopter me out of this end zone.
Exactly.
He uses the body to get in. It's a rushing touchdown, and here comes Lacayo to add the extra point. It's up, and it is through. Arizona goes in front on a rushing touchdown from Drew Powell. We'll be right back to Rio Rancho. By the way, Daryl, that was the 26th rushing touchdown of the year for Drew Powell. So that is obviously his weapon of choice, and I think everyone knows that. But it's still, even though you know it's coming, almost impossible to stop, isn't it?
It is almost impossible. He's so athletic at the quarterback position. And let's face it, going against defensive linemen who are not as athletic as the skill guys and the quarterbacks and receivers. And Drew uses that to his advantage to make plays, and he's doing that here today. But it's hard to overload on his running ability because he's an effective passer as well. So you can't just load up against him against the run because he can throw the ball down the field.
Right. And he's done that since he's gotten to the league. From his rookie year to now, Drew Powell has been an amazing quarterback. I mean, And they have a pretty amazing backup in Demery Croft. I mean, to be honest, Croft will be starting for any team in the East.
Yeah, that is true. But again, you got Powell, but then on the other side, the Gladiators, I know Ramon had a mental error there, but to be a rookie in the IFL and lead the league and passing touchdowns this season thus far with few games.
Greg Dent with the gate opened in the end zone there, so he almost fell out of the end zone as that gate was not secure.
And that
able to
cost
return
him.
it to the 5. Yeah, I mean, that definitely was not good.
Yeah, he wasn't able to get his feet underneath him to take off and sprint down the field. That cost him an extra step there. And an extra step in the IFL game is a huge step.
Safe to say, Daryl, that Ramon has Rookie of the Year all wrapped up?
Definitely. Like I said, to have to lead the league in passing yards, to be at the top of the statistic in every other passing category, and 2 fewer games, and this is your first year in the IFL, that's just outstanding for Ramon.
That was batted up.
Down.
It's a live ball. It's intercepted. It's caught and scored. It's Woods on the touchdown. Batted down at the line and right place, right time for Kyrie Woods. Challenge flag down right away for the Gladiators.
Let's see what the Gladiators are going to challenge here. But that's a great job by the Rattlers of getting their hands up, getting that ball in the air, making it a live ball. And Kyrie Woods does a great job of being jolly on the spot right there at the right place at the right time, catching that ball and scampering in for a touchdown.
And remember, the last time the Rattlers played the Gladiators, Kyrie Woods was named the Defensive Player of the Week in the IFL. He loves playing here. So they're going to challenge that there was a defensive player out of his stance.
And again, the same thing that the referees are seeing is the same thing you guys are seeing back at home. Let's watch it here, see if there's any defensive lineman out of their stance when the ball is snapped.
Which is push the top.
That would indeed warrant a flag.
So again, the challenge is going to be if there was someone out of their stance. If not, it would be back-to-back touchdowns for the Rattlers here, and what a turn of momentum. Let's see here.
Yeah, it looks like he may have rose up out of his stance, but got down just in time right before the ball was snapped. I think that's the referees are trying to look at right now to see if he was able to get back down in his stance before that ball was snapped. Because he jumps here.
Are we looking on the right side or left
right
side of the defense?
Right side. So see that jump?
Oh, yeah, he's up. No, he didn't get back down.
No,
we're going to have for the announcement here.
defensive player got back down in the stance right as the ball being snapped. Therefore, the touchdown is confirmed.
So they're going to say that he got back down in his stance, and the touchdown will stand. We can take one more look at it, guys. That last replay that the refs were looking at, that's the one I'd like to look at one more time.
Even if he didn't get back down, it still looked like he was off. May have been offsides.
Right, but they're going to say he got back down in the stands. Maybe we can look at it one more time when we get back from break or right before we go on break. We'll see. But this has certainly turned the momentum. Pick 6 for Woods. Here comes Lacayo on the end, the extra point. So make it 27-14 Arizona. Lacayo's kicks up and it is through. Oh, how quickly the momentum has turned tonight at the event center. As the ball is batted live up into the air, and Kyrie Woods takes it in for the touchdown.
Maria Ramirez.
Hi. Maria Ramirez.
Mom! Maria!
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
When they approached us to do this in the first place, we couldn't wait to get involved.
Come in here, and it feels like a football game should be here. It's a big event for us. In our opinion, this is going to be an outstanding spot to bring it to, and once you get a taste of it, I'm guessing you're going to want to come back. Want to come back. Want to come back.
Chuck Lopez with the organization's birthday, so he was getting serenaded. So we take a look at some halftime stats here.
Happy birthday, Chuck.
The time of possessions, we had the ball for 20 minutes, and Arizona for 9:52, and yet a big Arizona lead. The difference, obviously, is the 2 turnovers, the interception, and then the fumble loss. But Drew Powell, how comfortable has he been? 3 for 4 for 57 yards. For Powell. And on the other side, Atkins 3 for 9, and he's thrown the pick. So big difference there, right?
And that's the main difference is the 2 turnovers by the Gladiators, the fumble by Atkins, and the tip pass interception. It's 2 turnovers, but the Rattlers have capitalized and scored 14 points off of those 2 turnovers. So that's the main difference here in the ball game. And again, the Gladiators defense playing that cover 2 zone, protecting the sidelines, but leaving the middle of the field wide open. You talk about Drew Powell going 3 for 4. Those three passes were wide open in the middle of the field. So let's see if the Gladiators are able to make some adjustment on the defensive end coming in the second half.
Take a look at some highlights. Here's Ramon Atkins running it in for the touchdown. And then there you see he's lit up from behind. The defensive pressure on Atkins has been very good. They've made him uncomfortable. 3 for 9. He's definitely thinking in the pocket, isn't he?
He's definitely not comfortable back there because they're getting tremendous pressure, as we see Dontrell with the field goal block. But the Gladiators have done pretty well protecting him and using the clock, rushing the ball, passing the ball. It's just those 2 turnovers that cost them 14 points. Watching here another big play by Greg Dent, and Jared Elmore had one as well. But other than those 2 plays by the Gladiators, those 2 turnovers, this has been a very well played offensive game for the Gladiators.
Well, I don't know, Daryl. I beg to differ on that because, I mean, if you look down at this stat sheet and I see 1 reception for Greg Dent, 1 reception for Jared Elmore, 1 reception for Dello Davis, that's not going to get the job done.
Yeah, that's true. And they have to get on the same page. But that goes to show that Devontae Jackson has had a productive game running the ball here as well. He's had 6 carries for
19 yards
and that 1 touchdown. So that's been contributing to the time of possession. So Ramon hasn't had to throw the ball as much. But when we do have the ball and you have these sustainable drives, it has to result in a touchdown. It can't result in an interception or a fumble like it did in the first half.
All right. And so 2 things to look at as we finish up some of these highlights here. But you see Atkins, that was the fumble, and the big fella Landers finally did fall on it. But the big thing is going to be Do they come back out into cover 2, the Gladiators? And if they do, why on earth would they do that? Okay, that would be the first thing. And then secondly, I mean, offensively, just Ramon doesn't look comfortable, doesn't look in rhythm. So they're going to have to get him comfortable. They're going to have to regain the rhythm. How do they do that? Do they try some short stuff up the middle? We noticed in the last couple of weeks now, Ramon, as he's gotten more comfortable, he's taken a lot more shots down the field, and it's looked a lot more like Nate Davis's offense. I'll give him that. But he's gone away from some of the sure 5 to 10 yard passes that were his calling card earlier in the season. Do they get restarted by trying some short stuff?
Well, it's going to be hard and for the short game against the Rattlers because they play that press man, bump and run coverage, and because their defensive line isn't focused on getting sacks. They just want to get their hands up and disrupt the passing lane because everyone knows that the Gladiators have a high-powered passing attack. So just get your hands up, make it difficult for Ramon, and jam the receivers at the line to disrupt that timing. And it's working so far for the Rattlers. They have that tip, and they've had some pressure and sacks on Ramon. So just for the Gladiators, they've been able to connect on those big plays, but it's more of the intermediate passes. It's more of letting the receivers work their slant routes and their out routes and create that little bit of the separation because it's not going to be a wide open, just short game like they've been getting. These veteran receivers are going to have to work a little bit here this game.
Now, the other question I will ask is what adjustments does Kevin Guy make? I would imagine they'll have to talk about Jason Serta at half. Jason's starting to have his way a little bit. Does Coach Guy make some adjustments there as you would look at the stats, or do they just say, hey, it's 30-17, let Jason do Jason, we keep winning this game? What do you think Kevin Guy and his staff are talking about right now?
Yeah, and we talked about Jason Serta is a reigning defensive player of the year. So he has the talent and the ability to be able to make the plays that he's making here today. And that's just, I count that as just an outstanding player making outstanding plays. It's not something you can adjust to that. It's just, hey, he's going to have a good game. We just have to have a better one. So if I'm Kevin Guy, I stick to what's been working. Drew Powell up the left, Drew Powell to the right, and Drew Powell throwing the ball in the middle of the field and force the Gladiators to make the adjustments. And if the Gladiators make the adjustments, then Kevin Guy can counter with more adjustments. But until the Gladiators make those initial adjustments, if I'm Kevin Guy, I'm sticking to what I've been doing.
That's interesting that you would say that because, I mean, yeah, you got a lead, so there's always – I'm just checking some scores around the league. It's Vegas and Tucson are tied at 7. That one's in the first quarter of that one. Frisco is at Iowa. Let's check in on that. I'm sure they're killing Iowa. They are 35-15, so big lead for Frisco there. That's on the road. So those are the scores. Really, as the playoffs, the seedings could still change, Daryl. That's for sure. Obviously, the big one last week was Northern Arizona's defeat of the Rattlers, so Northern Arizona could conceivably enter the playoffs as the number 1 seed. The Gladiators could move up to 3. They could stay at 4. So you take a look at some updated standings there. The Rattlers and Wranglers have clinched at the top. If the playoffs started today, Duke City would be in that 4 spot. Now that's interesting because if the season ended now, I would say, okay, and this is no slight to Northern Arizona, but if you're the Gladiators, you would avoid the Rattlers in the opening round.
Exactly. If I'm Duke City, I'd much rather face the Wranglers than the Rattlers, but this team can compete with anybody. We talk about the remaining schedule for the Duke City Gladiators. You have the Rattlers here today. You have Northern Arizona next week. You have a bye. Then you have San Diego, and you have Northern Arizona again. So you have three of the 4 remaining games are conference games, and the Gladiators need to. I would like to see them go 3-0, but at least 2 of the 3, I would think needs to be victors here.
At the end of the day, does the road to the Dollar Loans championship game, does it go through Northern Arizona for the first time, or does it still everything goes through the Rattlers, you think?
I mean, just the Rattlers having that experience and the competitiveness that they've had in the IFL for years and years and being in the top in big games, they have that experience. We saw it in the NBA Finals, the Warriors having that experience against the Boston Celtics. the Wranglers have a great team, but they have a young team. They're a young franchise. This is their first year having a winning record in the IFL. So the Rattlers have that edge because they have the experience, but the Gladiators have the experience as well. And I look for them to make a late push. The Gladiators are always good in the second half of the season and making that late push into the playoffs.
Let's turn our attention to the East, where the East has certainly been the least this season, but is there a team that can challenge? Obviously, all right, I'm going to not sugarcoat it. Can Massachusetts beat Frisco? Because none of those other teams are worth anything. So can Massachusetts take out Frisco in Frisco's route to the championship game?
And that's going to be the matchup. That's the matchup that we all want to see. And Massachusetts and Frisco both have tremendous rosters and players that can make plays, players that have played in Division I football level and professional levels, whether it be CFL or NFL. So these guys have the rosters and have the ability and the talent. It's just going to see who is able to make more plays, who makes the most plays to win that game. And it's going to be an exciting matchup.
But Daryl, if you were a betting man, which of course you're not, but if that game happened right now, and you know you can bet on those games now, right, in Massachusetts?
Yeah, you can.
So let's say Frisco was playing Massachusetts. I mean, who do you think wins that game? With no Alejandro Benefield,
yeah,
right? Who wins that game?
And that's the thing. I would have to give that to Frisco just because
I love Frisco's defense.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to mention. Frisco has a stout defense with Cedric Poole back there leading the charge in the defense, and Cam Hilton. But Billy Beck does a great job of getting that team prepared week in and week out to come out and to compete, and it's shown with the success that they've had thus far.
Well, the playoffs are just around the corner. It's the drive for the playoffs. There are plenty of regular season left. Halftime score is the Rattlers 30 and the Gladiators 17.
Maria Ramirez.
Hi. Maria Ramirez.
Mom! Maria!
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
Maria Ramirez.
Hi. Maria Ramirez.
Mom! Maria!
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
Maria Ramirez.
Hi. Maria Ramirez.
Mom! Maria!
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Back with Daryl Stoneham, Sebastian Noel at the Rio Rancho Event Center. Happy Father's Day coming up to all the dads out there. My dad is in town from California, so excited for that. We'll be celebrating by me leaving the house to go play golf. So
Definitely happy Father's Day to my dad, former Marine Corps. Hoorah.
there you go.
Happy Father's Day, Pop.
By the way, there's some more, as you take a look at some of our coaches, talked to Nate Davis before the game. He thinks he's going to be back on the golf course this week. So his recovery is going well. He thinks he's going to get his first round in this week.
Well, I'm getting my screws and pins out of my foot in about a week or two.
All right.
So I'll be making my way to the golf course to
Sherman Carter, head
school
coach,
you guys.
who of course is the scratch golfer. Sherman will be the ringer on our team when we play in the La Cueva football tournament at 10-1. Sherman, there you see right there. He can drive. He can drive about 380 off the tee.
Golfer.
So Sherman will be with us as we try to defend our championship there. We're defending champs in that La Cueva tournament, so we told Sherman he has to come back.
I need him to help me with my drive, man. About 380, that's insane.
Yeah.
But second half about to kick off here. Let's see what, if any, adjustments the Gladiators made here on both sides of the ball. But like we talked about here at halftime, particularly the defensive side of the ball, just to close up that middle of the field hole that Drew Powell has been able to expose.
Rattlers ball to start the second half. On the high hop, it's fielded by Miles. Miles has a kickoff return for a touchdown already. Not this time, as he's brought down by Darius Thomas. And that's how the second half will begin.
But we talked about the return of number 17, Dontrell Johnson, and the impact that he's had in the secondary here, along with Eric Reed coming back from ankle injury, Dexter Reese, and again, Darius Thomas on the other side. Dontrell has been able to come in and make outstanding plays here for the Gladiators in the first half, dislodging that ball on the big pass breakup, and of course the extra point block as well.
Here's a new one. I don't think I've ever seen this before, but the referee's taking a phone call on the field. So that is...
He's calling B-Dubs to tell him to take it into overtime.
So that's... Now we're running. All right, what adjustments will be made against Drew Powell and his offense here? Haley Pelletier on the right side, they're in motion. Powell looking, he sees the C part up the middle of the field, and he brings it deep into Gladiators territory. Longest run of the night for Drew Powell.
And again, we got to give this Rattler offensive line tremendous credit. The protection that they provided for Drew Powell, not only on the passing side of the ball, but open up huge lanes in the middle of the field for Drew Powell and Little to be able to scamper for first downs and pick up valuable yardage.
Powell, this time he gets rid of it quickly. Great coverage over there by Dontrell Johnson. Was able to break that pass up.
And we talked about what, if any, adjustments the Gladiators will make. You can see it right here. Dontrell Johnson in man coverage is able to get his hand in and deflect that pass to cause incompletion. You see him there, able to get his hand in there and deflect that ball. But outstanding man coverage by Dontrell Johnson. But I like to see the Gladiators coming out in the second half in man coverage and forcing Drew Powell to make deadly accurate passes to his receivers.
Powell has all day. Now he's flushed. Brought down from behind. Cooper was there to finish up the play. Newton got him down low, and then Coop brought the hammer down on Drew Powell.
Great job by number 50 right here, Mason Newton. Watching Mason keep working, getting in the backfield, wrapping him up, allowing Byron Cooper to finish him off for the gang tackle and a sack. But what allows that whole sequence to happen is the man coverage in the back end of the field, blanketing those receivers, causing Drew Powell to scramble and try to look and buying time for this Gladiator defensive line to get in the backfield and make that sack.
You think Coop gets a half a sack there, or you give the whole sack to Newton there?
You know he's gonna ask for it.
He leads the league, so Powell back to pass. Powell in trouble. Cooper was there, and then it's dropped up the middle of the field. Tobias Little couldn't make the catch. Cooper got home, almost brought down Powell. Powell had to get rid of it, could not make an accurate throw on the run.
Exactly, and that's what we just talked about. Force Drew Powell to make deadly accurate passes.
Although
on
that
the
was
run.
a pretty catchable ball.
Yeah, it was.
You would have caught that, right, Daryl?
But again, earlier in the second half, those passes in the middle of the field were wide open. So even if he would have dropped that, no one would have been there to tackle him. But we saw right there, he dropped the ball, yes, but Jason Serter was right there to make that tackle. So even if he would have caught it, it would have been for a minimal gain.
All right, Rattlers fourth down here. Lacayo on for the field goal. He hit one just before halftime. Good snap, good hold. Lacayo's kick is no good. Looked like it was wide left.
And that's an outstanding adjustment coming out in the second half by Gladiators defensive coordinator Fred Griggs, making the right adjustments and manning up his defensive backs and forcing Drew Powell to make accurate passes, which allows time for the defensive line to get in there and create those sacks like they did there. Great job by the Gladiators. Great job by Coach Fred Griggs.
Lacayo thought he got it. Referees didn't agree. We'll be right back.
You Mexicans need an attorney general they can trust. I'm Attorney General Hector Balderas, and I trust Brian Colon. As our next Attorney General, Brian will fight for our most vulnerable, protect working families, women's reproductive rights, consumers, and our democracy, all while cracking down on crime to keep us safe. Planned Parenthood, classroom educators, working families, and Democrats like me agree. Brian Colon for Attorney General.
All right, let's see if Atkins can make the adjustments here. That one's batted down right into the hands of Chris Terrell. Again, the pressure was coming at Atkins.
And again, the Rattlers defensive line, it was Terrell this time, but able to get their hands up and bat that ball down. Delo Davis was wide open in the middle of the field on that short game like we talked about at halftime, just to get the rhythm going for this Gladiator offense. But Terrell did a great job of getting his hands up and deflecting that ball down. Luckily, it went down this time instead of straight up.
Trayvon Williams was coming straight downhill on that play as usual. Open up the middle to Delo Davis. Davis with the catch, and the Gladiator first down. Winfrey was there on the coverage.
But you gotta love that about Delo Davis. Watch him here. We're gonna watch his replay. He does a great job as always, sitting in the hole, finding the zone. But watch the end of this play here.
They didn't. Chains not quite set there. They wanted to go quickly. This was the bread and butter for Ramon Atkins earlier in the season that really led him to get so comfortable.
Watch him here. Absorb that hit and gets up and high-fives the defensive back.
That one's batted down. Great defensive play there by Kyrie Woods. There's a flag on the near side by us. Dent was the intended receiver. Man, Woods, what a DB.
Looks like they're going to get a hold call against Cedric Johnson. Cedric making his first appearance.
The defensive penalty is against Brandon Azell. He's really struggled today.
Yeah, Azell was guarding number 9, Cedric Johnson, like I said, who's making his first appearance here in the ball game. And they caught Azell on the grab there on Cedric Johnson. But like you said, that was a great job by Woods on that deflection there against Greg Dent. He's making his early bid for Defensive Player of the Week again.
Here comes Williams, able to get rid of it. Williams was coming on the play there. Atkins had to get rid of it. He did a good job, but Williams, they have not really stopped him. It's been a free pursuit up the middle, Daryl.
Yeah, exactly, another free pursuit. But again, when you have that linebacker shooting in the middle of the field, you got to get rid of the ball quickly because somebody's open in the back end. And Dello Davis and Greg Dent both ran post, and it looks like Ramon Atkins thought one of them was going to break off on a corner route, and they both ran a post.
Second down here. Yeah, I want to see some more short stuff to Dello in the middle. That's kind of what I.
And the one Dello caught earlier was more of an intermediate route, but it looks like we're going to get offsides on the Rattlers.
Terrell got started a little early there. Completion is made by Jarrett Elmore, and I think that short pass to Dello is what gets Ramon comfortable and what gets him confident. And I think as he's gotten better every game, Coach Davis has kind of opened up the playbook. But I think maybe, yes, he's getting better, but I don't think he's quite ready to run Nate Davis's entire offense, right? So let him be Ramon, right? And Ramon earlier in the season, that short pass to Dello was just deadly.
Exactly. Just letting Ramon showcase his talent and do what he does best. But we talk about this being his first year in the IFL. This game is so fast, and you have to make decisive decisions extremely quickly. And what the Rattlers are doing this game is getting a lot of pressure on Ramon and forcing him to make those decisions a lot quicker. And that's something he hasn't had to do this season.
They just got that play off, and they were able to get it to Dello Davis. But I think the timing on that was all off as the play clock was expiring. It brings up a third down.
And Woods gets up chirping again. Kyrie Woods gets up chirping at Dello Davis. I like this matchup between Woods and Davis, going back and forth. Dello having a couple of big catches, Woods having a couple big pass breakups. But I like to see this competition by both of these players.
Yeah, Woods is phenomenal. 4 interceptions on the year. Winfrey gets a lot of the attention, and he's very good. He's got 6 INTs, but today Winfrey's been getting burned a little bit. Woods not the case. That one is dropped by Cedric Johnson. Azell on the coverage.
And it looks like Nate's yelling at Ced to use his hands to make this catch. And that's a catch Ced normally makes.
Yeah, 9
times
out of 10.
Yeah, I would say if you throw that ball to him 10 times, he's going to catch 9 of them, if not 10. But he just let that get into his body a little bit too much. Got to go up strong hands and pull that ball in.
Cedric, of course, was on the championship CIF roster as well.
But the Gladiators making not only adjustments on defense, but here adjustments on offense as well. We haven't seen running back Devontae Jackson on the field this drive, and the Gladiators are adopting a 4 wide receiver set in the empty backfield.
Pressure, it's Williams again, and he gets home. Trayvon Williams with a big sack of Ramon Atkins. You can see that building because Williams has been getting home.
And that's the thing. I just talked about Devontae not being in the game, and the Gladiators adopting that 4 wide receiver set. The one negative about that is you don't have somebody in the backfield to protect Ramon against those blitzes, and that's what happened there. The blitz got home and was able to get a sack on Ramon.
Williams having a night. We'll be right back.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Powell back to work. He faked it to Little, set up the little screen, and they get it out to him on the end. So a nice play design there, and the Rattlers able to execute.
That was a great job by Darius Thomas and Dexter Reese, staying home and limiting that gain to a very minimal gain of 1 yard. You give running back Tobias Little, who's 6 foot, 230 pounds, the ball in open space. You expect him to pick up more than 2 yards, and Dexter Reese and Thomas did a great job of stopping him.
Former Louisville Cardinal, or Louisville for the locals there. Powell got some time, and he makes the throw to Haley. And Braxton brings in another one.
And you know, if I'm the Gladiators, I'm okay with that. Yeah, of course you don't want to see a completion like that for a big first down, but watch it here. Haley makes this catch in the middle of the field. Watch it. And someone is right there. That's a bang play. That's a great job of Haley of picking up that ball with his hands. But Eric Reed is right there and just missed the pass breakup. And that was a pass that Powell was completing earlier in the game, wide open with no one in sight. So I like to see the adjustments.
Powell will keep this one himself. Cuts back up towards the goal line. He's just short. It's brought down by Cooper, short of the goal line.
You can't say enough about Drew Powell and how he uses his skill set perfectly. He knows what type of player he is. He knows his strong suits. He knows his weaknesses, and he doesn't allow you to exploit those weaknesses too much.
Ball right at the doorstep here. Is this going to be Powell again, you think?
Between Powell and Little, both at over 225 pounds, you can't go wrong with either one.
Powell going to keep, and he's in. 27th rushing touchdown of the year for Drew Powell. Wow.
And again, great job. You got to give credit to the offensive line. Watch his offensive line move these guys out of the way, just plowing the hole for Drew Powell to virtually go untouched into the end zone for the touchdown.
Yeah, the big fellas up front, Arizona, that's where it starts. They're so good. Of course, Lamar Mady spent some time with the Raiders. Lacayo on to add the extra point, and he does. And the Rattlers stretch their lead on a rushing touchdown from Drew Powell. Sebastian Noel, Daryl Stoneham back at the Rio Rancho Event Center. 37-17, Rattlers. Lacayo's kick will be fielded by Dello Davis, a yard deep into the end zone. Davis spins out of one tackle, misses a second. And finally the third man there, Miles, will bring him down right around the 10.
Dello has that great ability to make the first guy miss all the time. It's never the first guy making a tackle on Dello Davis, whether it's on kickoff, offense, whatever it is. He always does a great job of making the first guy miss, which is why he's so deadly on those short passes that you mentioned earlier, Sebastian, just to try to get the rhythm going here on this offense. Try to get Dello Davis the ball in space and let him do what he does best, and that's run after the catch.
It's an uphill climb now for Ramon Atkins and company. That one's almost intercepted. Woods was right there again.
Yeah, Woods. And again, Woods is playing man-on-man coverage here.
Man, Woods has to have these Gladiator games just circled on his calendar. I mean, he balls out every time he plays in this building.
And again, if Ramon throws that ball to Dello's outshot shoulder, that's more of a completion. But again, Woods doing a great job of just being there and being disruptive in the route, to at least not give Ramon a wide open Dello Davis target.
By the way, next week, Northern Arizona, the rematch is at the Footprint Center as they'll face the Rattlers. So that'll be a matchup I'm sure Kevin Guy has been salivating for. This one is incomplete, intended for Jared Elmore.
Man, I always get skirmish when that ball's
I don't understand it, Daryl. You played receiver. You are a receiver.
Man,
I'm looking for some protection over here in the booth.
It's different. You got to give me some helmets and I need a helmet and some shoulder pads.
I don't get it, man. Every time a ball's coming over here, I'm thinking you're going to protect me.
I got to protect
and
my
then you're
face
out
first.
Of the way. Yeah, you got a pretty face.
I got to protect.
My man, you got a pretty face. I understand it. That's your money maker. I get it.
My best bet is to just duck, get out the way.
Just bat it down. Play DB at least.
Big third down here for the Gladiators.
And this one's wide open. Devontae Jackson all the way in for the touchdown. Devontae Jackson.
There you go. That's a great job by Devontae. And that's the exact same play. Let's check out the penalty here.
It's a defensive penalty. It's declined. Remember, they tried that same play last week and he dropped it. So he atoned for that big drop last week. Let's watch it.
Watch here. Ramon just floats it right over the top, making it an easy pass. And he did drop one last week, but he also scored on that exact same play against Frisco last week as well. So it's something that's proven to be open and effective for the Gladiators. And Devontae was able to haul it in and scamper down the field for a touchdown. Big play by Devontae Jackson.
Gosling on for the extra point.
I'll tell you, Devontae showed his wheels there.
Yeah. Atkins is the holder for Gosling. And Kevin's kick is good. The Gladiators chip away on a touchdown for Devontae Jackson, and that'll make it 37-24. As we take one more look here at Ramon Atkins. Patience, and he drops it right in the bucket there for Jackson for the house call.
At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we provide professional dog training as well as in-home dog and puppy obedience training and board and train programs.
When you quit smoking, your immune system is no longer exposed to tar and nicotine, so it'll become stronger and you'll be less likely to get sick. Are you ready to quit? Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for free coaching, patches, gum, or lozenges.
Dr. David Sockerman, orthopedic surgery specialist and proud partner of your Duke City Gladiators.
Welcome back to the Rio Rancho Event Center. That young man is giving his Father's Day present early by beating up Pops with those noisemakers. Happy Father's Day, Dad, he says. This one's low, picked up by Houston. This is trouble. It's across midfield. Again, it'll start in Gladiator territory. Boy, that had a lot of pace on it, and Houston snatched it right out of there,
I was just about to mention, that was a great job of snatching that ball off of the bounce. Because if he didn't, that ball was going to get a couple more bounces and maybe bounce high for the Gladiators to get down there and try to pin the Rattlers in their own territory. But great job picking that ball up off of the bounce and advancing it past midfield and setting the Rattlers up in great field position to start this drive.
Powell can answer. Looking to pass, he does. Open, the reception, Troy Pelletier.
Thomas, Darius having some troubles bringing down Pelletier. He's about, that's a big target.
6'3",
215. It's a big target to try to bring down, but Darius did a great job of sticking with it, limiting that game.
I mean, they have so many weapons at receiver.
They do.
We mentioned Harrington, who's not even on the trip. Then the first team all-rookie last year, Todd Athey, who hardly ever even sees the field, right? Earlier, I mean, they're just stacked at that position.
And all of these guys have, well, most of these guys have a lot of experience here in the IFL and with the Arizona Rattlers and have that timing down with Drew Powell. And it shows here out on the field. Their timing and their connection it's spot on.
All right, fourth quarter about to begin here, Daryl. We've seen some crazy endings. What do the Gladiators have to do to ensure another entertaining finish here?
I mean, we've seen 16 points be scored by the Gladiators in what, 9 seconds?
Right.
So to be down 14, 15 points here is not unfamiliar territory for the Gladiators. And their fourth quarter is almost like the Golden State Warriors' third quarters. They come out in the fourth quarter, and they're always rolling and hitting on all cylinders. And let's see if they can continue that here in this fourth quarter. But I like the adjustments that they've made, and that's where it started. The adjustments they're making here on the defensive side, going to a more of a man coverage rather than the cover two, is shown to be effective here for this Gladiator defense.
I think the Rattlers might have a little more offensive firepower than the Boston Celtics. Though.
Yeah.
So, you've went with that comparison twice. So those aren't the Celtics on the other side there. $100 turnovers in the playoffs for Jason Tatum, right? The entire playoffs combined. I was hearing that stat.
Such a disappointing performance. And we talked about Jason Tatum on the Sports Animal,
right?
And just how we're so disappointed, and he's grounded.
Yeah. Changing his number next year to 24, he says. It's complete to Pelletier.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I hope he works this offseason to match that number, because that finals performance was nowhere near 24.
He's milking that friendship with Kobe for all it's worth, but he hasn't been playing a lot of Black Mamba-like games lately, has he?
He needs to work like the Mamba. But a big 3rd down and 2 here for the Gladiators. And again, the Gladiators making it a little bit more difficult for the Rattlers here in this second half.
Powell, he's got all day. Powell to the end zone.
They're going to call that.
There's a flag on the play. Yeah, Reese never got turned around there.
Yeah, Reese is upset about that, but that was.
Well, I think and we'll look at the replay. We'll get a chance. I think he's saying the offensive player maybe held it. Let's look. All right, let's take another look.
He might be saying he was the one held.
Bad angle there. Let's take another angle, guys, if we can.
Yeah, let's watch it here.
And if we can slow it down, and
it's hard to tell.
That's going to get called.
Watching it live, it did look like a defensive pass interference, but we weren't able to tell there at that replay. I see it a little bit. That backhand might be holding a little bit. He does use that front hand to knock the ball down, but that backhand might be tugging the jersey there.
That's been called tightly tonight, but that.
And we've seen the Gladiators get a bunch of those calls this game as well, so. The refs are calling it even.
Powell, no, sir. Dontrell Johnson lit him up down low.
And again, Dontrell making his presence known here in his first game back for the Gladiators. Bring it down, Drew Powell.
Dontrell doesn't like the spot there.
Looks like we're going to.
There's an illegal defense penalty.
He said on number 12. It's not a number 12.
There's not a 12.
On 17.
17,
Oh,
Dontrell
he caught
Johnson.
it on Dontrell. That's a tough penalty. I mean, if you're Dontrell, you're playing your position, but you know that it's going to be a quarterback rush.
I don't like this challenge. I think they're going to challenge it, and I don't like it. Because even if they win this challenge.
I mean, how many times do the Rattlers throw the ball in the red zone? So if they're in the red zone, you know that they're going to run the ball. So
they're going to challenge this here. But again, I don't like this challenge, Daryl, because if they win the challenge, what do you gain from this challenge?
Those 3 to 4 yards in the goal line make a huge difference, especially for this Gladiator defense.
I mean, okay, so, all right, now let's play devil's advocate. If they win this challenge, Drew Powell runs it in for the touchdown. If they lose this challenge, Drew Powell runs it in for the touchdown. Why challenge?
But if the Gladiators win this challenge, you saw Dontrell just have a great stopping Drew Powell in his tracks. Jason Surter's been having an outstanding game.
They saw it right away. So Duke City's charged with a timeout and a challenge. I really am having a problem with some of these challenges, Daryl.
They're saying it right there where Dontrell scoots in. But he has no receiver on his side of the ball. If I'm the IFL, that has to be, you have to look into that of some type of rule change. He's just out there covering space. When he has no receiver, nobody to cover, you're telling me he can't go in and attack the ball carrier?
It doesn't change the fact that was a horrible challenge. In for the touchdown on the carry for Tobias Little.
And whenever you have a guy like Tobias with that size, 235 pounds, coming downhill with a head of steam and only has 1 yard to gain, like you said, that's almost guaranteed.
And I know Coach Griggs is on the field and he saw what he saw and he wants that challenge badly. But the communication between coordinator and head coach, someone's got to say, no, we got to save that. That might not be a challenge worth calling.
Yeah.
Even if, let's say Freddie was right? Let's see what he saw, and he was right. Is that challenge worth it at that point? I would contend no.
And because I know the Gladiators defense and how they operate, though, like I said, those 3-4 yards that they would have gained if they got the challenge would have been crucial for them.
That snap, Lacayo can't get the kickoff. Well, he does, but it's just going to go over the wall. The extra point's no good. That'll make it 43-24. Gladiators trail it big here in the fourth.
Maria Ramirez.
Hi. Maria Ramirez.
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
The Duke City Gladiators are brought to you in part by these proud partners. The Paletta Bar, Tramway, Sit Means Sit, Dog Training, Fogo de Chao, Brazilian Steakhouse, Roadrunner, Ready Mix, and JPR Gravel. Bubba's 33, Sadie's of New Mexico, Garcia's Kitchen, Nexus Brewery, Guild Mortgage, Roadrunner Realty and Investments, Dickey's Barbecue, and Fidelity Title. The Duke City Gladiators are brought to you in part by these proud partners.
We're back to the Rio Rancho Event Center alongside Daryl Stoneham, Sebastian Noel. Glad to have you tuned in here on the IFL YouTube as well as across the state of New Mexico. Dello Davis fields at the 4-yard line. Dello's got some room. Dello's still on his feet. Davis just shy of midfield. A nice return from Dello Davis as Devontae Merriweather helps him back to his feet. And back to work, Ramon Atkins, 43-24.
Yeah, it's imperative that the Gladiators answer with the touchdown here. Fourth quarter winding down, 12 minutes here left in the fourth quarter. Down 24-43. each possession is going to be crucial from here on out for the Gladiators to put not field goals, but touchdowns on the board.
And have to account again for Trevon Williams, who's really been a one-man wrecking crew as far as Ramon Atkins being uncomfortable. That's been all Williams, I think.
And the Gladiators are going back to Devontae Jackson being on the field. Still adopting that 4-wide set, but
Atkins has all day, sees the hole up the middle. Ramon going to go all the way, and he gets into the slide shy of the 10-yard line. Ooh. Big run for Ramon Atkins.
And that's a brave slide right there. Sliding here on this artificial turf.
You are such a diva, Daryl.
Man, that's carpet burn for days right there. Watch this perfect slide. Carpet burn.
See,
his elbows.
You know, between you ducking when the ball comes into the broadcast booth and that comment, that's the Daryl I know.
Hey, you just fall down, protect your body. But that slide, whew.
You're talking about how the wall earlier?
All right, till you take a shower after the game and it burns like crazy from the turf burn.
Atkins, here comes Williams. He lit him up. There's a flag on the play. Williams got to Atkins.
And it looks like they're going to get the Gladiators on offsides. Looks like he snapped it just a hair bit late.
Yeah, you saw it. It was him. Yeah, it was a fault. It was a.
Dello Davis was about 5 yards down the field when that ball was snapped. Oh.
Wow, the Gladiators may have caught a break there. Illegal defense penalty instead against the Rattlers.
Never mind. I never said that.
Yeah, I think you did.
After watching it, he was on sides. He was more like, it wasn't 5 yards, but it was more like 4.5, 4.
I don't know. But the snap was definitely, looked like Ramon with a little bit of a false start almost.
Yeah, looks like they're going to have an equipment.
Chains, they weren't set. Now we're ready.
An equipment timeout, a.k.a. an official timeout.
Dello Davis on the left side of the formation here. Dent, Elmore in motion. Atkins going to look for some space. And he finds a yard maybe before Woods came crashing in. And that hole got plugged up pretty quickly, didn't it, Daryl?
Wow, and Woods coming clear across the field to make that tackle. And he's having an outstanding. We talk about Jason Serta for the Gladiators. Well, Kyrie Woods for the Rattlers is having an outstanding game here today against the Gladiators, making his pitch for defensive player.
I've seen enough of Kyrie Woods every time these guys are in here, man. He is so good.
He's been all over the field for the Rattlers here tonight. But the Gladiators are effective here in the red zone, especially when Dello Davis is in the inside.
This is where he is now.
He not only runs that wrap around the field there.
Atkins looking. It's picked off.
Late.
Intercepted. It's a live ball, and Dylan Winfrey has his league-leading 7th interception of the year, and that may do it for the Rattlers.
And Ramon had him wide open. It was just a little late on the delivery, which allowed Winfrey to come underneath that ball. Watch here, Dello Davis runs that pylon route, wraps around the back end zone, and he's open. Ramon just a little late. He has to anticipate that and put more zip on it rather than wait for Dello to be open to throw it. He has to anticipate him being open and zip it in there for the completion. But again, great job by Winfrey.
We talked about Winfrey, got beat a couple of times earlier in the game. Can't hold a good man down, and the IFL's interception leader adds to his total. Boy, that just a beautiful job jumping that by Dylan Winfrey. Another bad snap. Haley just have to fall on it here. Instead, he'll try to throw it, and that'll be that. It's 49-24. There's a flag on the play, so we'll check it first.
Yeah, the Gladiators were a little late getting out there on the field. We might have an illegal defense on the Gladiators, being that they were so late getting out there.
Here's the end of that play. If we can look at the pick six one more time, guys. Our director, Alden Ioane, upstairs with Grant Blevins. I think they might pick this flag up, but look at this. This is the perfect angle. Look at that.
Yeah.
Woods just stepped right there.
And again, that's on
the quarterback, though.
Yeah, that's an anticipation route. He has to anticipate Dello getting open rather than waiting for him to get open. And that was the difference. That split second in timing was the difference, which allowed Dylan Winfrey to come underneath and pick that ball off and take it to the house.
Offsetting penalties there will allow them to try again, and I think Coach Guy has seen enough of this bad snap nonsense. He's just going to keep the offense on the field and go for 2.
He's had enough. But the Rattlers have their big targets out at wide receiver. 6'3", Petier and Haley. Let's see if they try to get one of these guys on the jump ball.
Powell,
yeah.
Yes, it is good. The 2-point conversion to Braxton Haley is good. And the Rattlers add to their lead on the Dylan Winfrey pick 6. All right, we're back at it here. Greg Dent Jr. on the return. He gets to the 20-yard line. He's trying to squirt free.
And we talked about every possession being extremely important here for the Gladiators going forward in this fourth quarter. That pick six, the last possession, hurt the Gladiators a little bit, but
couple of huge interceptions, one for Woods and then Winfrey.
And it's uncharacteristic for Ramon. This is the first game I believe he's thrown 2 interceptions in a long time. I believe since his very first game here in the IFL with the Gladiators. But one thing about Ramon Atkins is he's resilient and he has a short memory. So I don't expect that interception to linger on his conscience. Put it behind you and continue to lead this offense down the field.
Atkins is going to float another one to Devontae Jackson. Devontae looking for some room to cut. And he's brought down just shy of the 10-yard line.
And again, that play proving to be a little bread and butter for the Gladiators here. Always being open. Devontae scampering out to the right side of the field there, acting like he's about to pass block and leaking out of the backfield. Always wide open for Ramon Atkins.
There's a quiet hush over the building. The Gladiators certainly not with much momentum here, as the Rattlers extending their lead has kind of quieted things. That's to Jackson. Gladiators will be in a bye next week, Gerald, so that's probably a good time for a bye after tonight.
Exactly. It'll be a good bye for this team. They, of course, probably just like every team in the IFL, they have a lot of guys banged up here and there, nicks and bruises, so it'll give guys a chance to heal up and continue this late season push and into the playoffs.
Might have to pack up the clubs and head out to Phoenix, maybe check out that game at the Footprint Center, rematch between Northern Arizona and the Rattlers, get in some golf.
It's going to be a good one. Number 1 versus number 2 in the conference going at each other.
Atkins has some time, and it's incomplete. There's the flag. Dent was the intended receiver, and Woods, I think, was in the area. Did he commit the penalty? Let's look at the other angle.
And yeah, he.
Oh yeah, I mean, you want to dance with Greg like that? Usually you got to buy him a drink or two first, right? I mean,
and that shows the strength of Greg Dent. He's so strong and so physical up top that he breaks at the top of that route, and he makes Woods hold him, and makes it visible for the referees to throw that flag. But if Dent doesn't try to fight through that penalty, maybe the referees doesn't see it. But he's so big and so physical, he's able to fight through that and make it obvious for the referees to throw that flag.
It's really the first thing that Woods has done wrong all night.
Yeah, he's had such a great game all game, but Greg Dent got the best of him on that one.
Two in motion, right side of the formation. Atkins goes the other way instead. Yes, it's a touchdown.
And Jared Elmore.
The mayor, Jared Elmore, makes the catch.
And delivers the ball in the stands for some lucky fans, but
Jared's got a lot of fans.
Yeah, so he does a great job using his body. And Ramon puts it on the outside shoulder. And again, we talked about Woods having such a great game. He gave up a touchdown there, but
touchdown number 16 on the season. Leads the team, Jared Elmore.
It's a great job by Elmore, using his body almost like a rebound, just boxing Woods out and making a play on that football.
Gladiators will go for 2 here, it would appear. Dello, Elmore in motion. Towards the back of the end zone, incomplete. So the 2-point try, no good. It's the Rattlers, 51. And the Gladiators, 30.
When they approached us to do this in the first place, we couldn't wait to get involved.
Come in here, and it feels like a football game should be here. It's a big event for us. In our opinion, this is going to be an outstanding spot to bring it to, and once you get a taste of it, I'm guessing you're going to want to come back.
The Duke City Gladiators are brought to you in part by these proud partners: IBEW, Local Union 611, and New Mexico Chapter, NECA, UA, Local 412, the Carpenters Union, the Ramada, Dark Horse Investments, Roadrunner Realty, Prestige Media Group, Westway Homes, the Santa Fe Police Department, Roadrunner Beauty and Spa, Spring Rollin', McDonald's, Upscale Burgers, and Lily Liam Bistro.
Back to the Rio Rancho Event Center, 51-30. Rattlers in front here. 2-point conversion was no good after the touchdown for Jared Elmore. Of course, Keshawn Taylor leads the league in touchdown catches with 18. That was number 16 for Jared Elmore. Thomas Owens with 17. Dylan Davis came into the night with 14, so Gladiators offensive players always near the top there when it comes to the league leaders. Smart play by Haley, the two-hand punch into the seats.
Very smart play. A lot of players in the IFL don't know to do that on those onside kicks, to just bat it out of bounds.
Ooh, look at that sharp-looking gear there.
Yeah.
Talk to Gina about, maybe.
Yeah. Head to DukeCityGladiator.com and get your Duke City Gladiator official merchandise and apparel.
Now, how good would our director, Alden Ioane, look in one of those, right?
Man.
But he's a director. He shouldn't go to gladiators.com. He should go to free.free. That's where he should go, right? How good would he look in that?
And then the Gladiators, I believe the Gladiators have the coolest color combination in the league. So that apparel is just pretty cool and neat looking.
Powell on the flip. Nope, that's a fumble for Little. And did Serta take it away from him? No, I think Little was able to recover it. But a fumble on the exchange, or after the exchange, I should say, by Little, but he's able to fall on it.
Big heads-up play by Little, falling on that ball. Could have been a costly turnover here for the Rattlers, who haven't committed a turnover all game long against the Gladiators. 3 turnovers, which have resulted in 21 points. 3 turnovers resulted in 21 points for the Rattlers.
But that's what good teams do, right?
Yeah.
They make you pay, right?
They capitalize on your
you add a
turnovers.
special teams touchdown from Miles, and special teams and defense, right? That's what sets good teams and great teams apart. Powell, he's going to keep. Powell, head of steam, spinning, still on his feet, and Cooper says, I'll take care of that.
Wow, that's a great tackle by Cooper. But we talk about Little here, and we talk about Serta. Serta came in on the blitz, and Little did a great job of picking Serta up here on that blitz. Let's see if we can catch it here. Watch it right there. Boom, just opens the hole for Drew Powell to pick up positive yards before Byron Cooper delivers a big hit at the end of the play.
The next time the Gladiators will be in action 2 weeks from now at San Diego. Powell, another bad flip. This time to Haley. I think this one was on Powell, though. That was not a great exchange there.
Yeah, he goes right over to Haley and tells him, he's like, hey, my bad, man. That was a bad toss on my part. But great job by Haley picking that ball up off the bounce. And when you know that ball can bounce anywhere, he picks it up off the bounce and, again, saves the Rattlers from committing a turnover.
You know, so now that couple of exchanges, that'll put something on tape for Coach Guy to be mad about during the week, right? So you know Coach Guy loves that.
Yeah. We're excited for this post-game interview from Coach Guy.
2:02 to go. This time they do get a beautiful flip. Is he in? No signal yet. Short. Jamal Miles on the carry.
And again, we're approaching the minute mark here, about 1 minute and 40 seconds left here in this game.
So Gladiators will be on a bye, and the Rattlers will have a rematch in this time at the Footprint Center against Northern Arizona.
Should be a big conference matchup for both teams, sitting at 1 and 2 in the conference, going against each other for the rematch. Northern Arizona getting the best of the Rattlers the first game. Who do you think will win that game?
Oh, you know, it would be, I don't know if I should go on a limb and pick a winner in that one, but on the carry in for the touchdown, it's Little.
And all the rushing success that the Rattlers have had today, from Drew Powell to Little, you got to give this Rattler offensive line credit.
Oh, those big guys are so good.
All the way from Magwood, Thomas Jr., Mattis, Matty, all these guys, just reading it off, 6'6", 330 pounds, 6'4", 300 pounds, 6'2", 350 pounds. And these guys have just had their way with the Gladiators defensive line, opening up holes left and right for Drew Powell and Little.
That'll be the 1 minute warning here. Arizona's in front big.
At the Vessel IV Bar, we're here to help you find your optimal state of wellness through on-demand IV drip hydration and micronutrition service.
Maria Ramirez?
Hi. Maria Ramirez.
Mom! Maria!
Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
Jack and Jill went up a hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and spilled his crown, and Jill tripped over him after. They got in their car. We don't live far, but boy, they should have known. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel.
There's the next home game for the Gladiators. Will be against Northern Arizona. Right now, they're the #1 team in the Western Conference.
Just an all-around great performance here by the Rattlers here today. Coming here executing not only on offense, defense, but special teams as well, having a kickoff return for a touchdown and forcing the Gladiators to commit 3 turnovers that they scored 21 points off of. So if I'm Kevin Guy, you have to be proud of your team and their performance here tonight.
Absolutely. Here's Lacayo. By the way, I did as Lacayo's kick is good. The Rattlers are home next week at the Footprint Center, but Tucson first. Then they welcome in
NAZ,
the Northern Arizona Rattlers. That's my birthday next Saturday, so I might make that trip anyway, just to get some golf in, watch Tucson.
Happy birthday,
now,
my man.
Tucson, although the standings don't indicate it, that's a team that could very easily beat this Arizona team. I mean, they've done it before, right?
Yep.
So, anytime you have Daquan Neal at quarterback there, and I know, they've been that's been a weird team to figure out all year, Tucson.
Yeah.
They've looked great at times. They've looked mediocre at times. You know they have the talent there, though, that's for sure. I mean, what is your take on the Sugar Skulls?
It's like you said, just their inconsistency. They've showed signs of brilliance and signs to be a great team, but then they come out the very next game and it's like, cool.
Yeah,
complete opposite, But they have the talent, like you said, Daquan Neal and Drew Powell will be a great matchup. 2 powerhouse quarterbacks going against each other head-to-head. But if you're looking at rosters, both of their rosters are stacked with talent from top to bottom.
You would think between Neal and then Mike Jones, that's not a team that should be hovering around 500, but we say that about our Gladiators as well, right? And not a team that should be hovering around 500.
And it's the little things. It's the losing by one point in the last couple seconds. But
big return here for Greg Dent. Nobody going to catch him. Touchdown, Greg Dent Jr.
Great job by Greg Dent finding the open hole and hitting it. Not a lot of dancing, finding the open seam, turning on the jets, and just out-racing everybody. Showing that Florida State Seminole speed. Watching here, one plant, and he's gone.
They'll go for 2 here. Swiss Army knife, Greg Dent. He can do it all, huh?
He can do it all. Defense, offense, special teams. He's the only guy on the roster for the Gladiators this year to have an interception, a touchdown, and a kickoff return for a touchdown. It's just all around Swiss Army knife and outstanding playmaker for the Gladiators.
Their last 2-point try failed, as will this one. Batted down at the line.
And that's the
3rd
or 4th batted down pass this game.
Former Oklahoma Sooner batted it down. 2-point try, no good. We're back for the final 51 seconds right after this.
Lily and Liam is a laid-back scratch kitchen cooking up all-day breakfast, sandwiches, salads, and delicious baked goods.
All right, we're back with the player of the game, Kyrie Woods. Man, you got to circle these Gladiator games on your calendar because it seems like every time you're in this building, you ball out. The last time you were here, you were named the IFL's Defensive Player of the Week. Another fine performance tonight. Talk about that.
I really got to chalk it up to my teammates, God, and Coach Guy. He came out with an excellent game plan. We all just executed all around the board.
Dylan, of course, added that pick six late. And then how about Williams with the pressure? It seems like you made Ramon Atkins uncomfortable all night.
I mean, that's all part of the game plan. We executed well. Very proud of how we executed all 4 quarters, and on to the next week.
What's the week been like after a loss?
Just refocusing, recalibrating. We know one loss doesn't define us, so we just wanted to focus 1 week at a time.
Kyrie, we certainly appreciate your time. Coach Guy has declined his post-game interview today. That'll do it for us in Albuquerque. The Rattlers win it.